Good evening and welcome to the Patriots Clubhouse. Yes, we changed the YouTube channel name for the second time here in this channel. It started off as Patriots Talk, then NE Patriots Talk, but after consensus and after all the votes in the poll that I did yesterday or the day before, I decided it has come to consensus that Patriots Clubhouse will be the name moving forward, and I hope it's going to be the future name moving forward because there's so much we have in store for you guys. We are still keeping the Patriots MayeFlower Voyage series. Don't get me wrong. We're already on the 13th episode of the Patriots MayeFlower Voyage. As we go up against the Tennessee Titans with an interesting twist and with interesting story, we'll get to that. But as always, I am the captain of the ship, Dow, aka DTN, and I got my two men with me, Thomas and Austin. Boys, how are you doing?
Ecstatic. I'm so happy to talk Patriots. I was kind of talking to you before the show, basically being like, can you imagine this time last year, we were literally like, all right, who are we going to draft? What are we dealing with? Like, this year is already a wash. Now, this year, 4-2, top of the AFC East. I mean, what more could you ask for out of this team who we didn't even think we'd at any point be at the top of the AFC East, let alone have the chances of making the playoffs? And now it looks like, given the schedule that we have, that could very, very realistically be a possibility.
Yeah, exactly. Thomas, it seems like you're a little lagging, but how are you doing so far? You good, Thomas?
Yes, I'm fine. It's just something's finicky about my internet. But I'm fine. I'm still alive. Looking forward to see New England destroying Tennessee.
Oh, definitely. Man, for me, it's almost homecoming for your boy. And yeah, exams have been gruesome. I know that. After the Buffalo game, I knew that I had to take a couple exams, but thankfully, I got a perfect score on one of my exams, and then I got a decent grade on one of my exams after having a stomach attack at one point. But thankfully, I'm in a passing grade, so don't worry, I'm not in risk of failure compared to last year, but that's what I hope for. But as always, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button, hit subscribe. It's completely free, and it helps us support the channel massively, and it helps us grow as a community, and we appreciate the support. And as always, guys, if you want to interact with us in the chat, please make sure that you post your questions and comments relevant to the Patriots and football only, so you can talk about football news, anything interesting you, or maybe you could talk about draft, even though it's a bit too early. And that also means no fart jokes on this channel after a series of trolls with these fart jokes, and let's not go there. But let's start off with the biggest news before we get to the injury report. So last Monday, as far as we know, Brian Callahan was let go by the Tennessee Titans. This is like, I have zero clue of what's going on with Tennessee right now, especially with all of these like front office changes. Like after the GM got fired, and then next year Mike Vrabel got fired, and then Rand Carthon got fired, and now both Bill and Brian Callahan let go. Basically, Brian was let go, but Bill quit because he supports his son. What does it say about the matchup as we head into Sunday, and what does this mean for Mike Vrabel as he heads to Tennessee this upcoming Sunday? I can ask both of you.
To me, it means the Titans have absolutely zero integrity of how they run their team. It's like you said. I mean, it started with was it Vrabel getting fired, or was it the GM?
John Robinson getting fired in 2022 after trading away A.J. Brown to the Eagles.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's literally like, just picture it dominoes. It's just that dude, Vrabel, the other guy, and now, unfortunately, the head coach of the Titans, who is no more. And I didn't know his dad left with him, but that's pretty awesome to be supported in such a way. I don't know. The Titans just seem like a dumpster fire. It's literally like, how can you be so sure of your moves when you just keep firing people and then expecting like shit's going to work? I honestly have no clue what the heck their team is going to do in this upcoming game, but the Titans just have handled everything terribly pretty much since the firing of Vrabel, and it's just looking like downhill. I mean, I don't even know what they're going to do to salvage this year. I mean, what are their hopes to get a top 3 pick? Because that's what it's looking like. I think like we'll win this one handedly because I don't know. This Titans roster is decimated with injury too, and just terrible, man. Just terrible. Like, I am so thankful that we have Robert Kraft as an owner. Like, I cannot imagine like a less passionate, like business oriented person. Like the Titans or like say the Browns, for instance, their franchise is just so much more focused on like, ooh, let's build a new stadium and let's get sales than it is focused on winning football games.
So it was announced after like an hour after Brian Callahan got let go that the interim head coach for the Tennessee Titans is Mike McCoy. And I want to ask you, Thomas, will that change anything for the Tennessee Titans, or is just going to be mediocre, or it's just I think it's just cleaning up in the room right now?
It's going to stay the same. It's the same old Titans. Like, come on. Like, ever since, like, it's been a trend with rookie coaches getting fired after getting the number 1 overall pick. Look, ask Trevor Lawrence, Urban got fired. Ask freaking whoever. Ask freaking like Bryce Young, his head coach got fired. Like, it keeps constantly that damn trend. And when it comes to the Titans, in this case here, who's the worst team in the AFC South, which, I'm sorry, they're just nothing but a dumpster fire of a franchise here. They should, at this point, they should have not fired Mike Vrabel at the first place because, A, he got you, Tennessee fans, to the fucking playoffs, for one. 2, you should have not fired that GM or anything here who brought Vrabel into this franchise. C, you could have a smart staff at this point. I'm sorry, Tennessee Titans is nothing short but an F team.
Yeah. When it comes to Mike McCoy, that move doesn't move me any certain way because Mike McCoy, he was the head coach for what used to be the San Diego Chargers. Started off 9-7 and then had a massive collapse. Went 3-4. No, what is it? Let me look up his statistics. Mike McCoy, because he used to be the head coach for the San Diego Chargers. He is so yes, he was he started off 9-7. Then in 2015 went 4-12 and then 5-11 and then got let go by the San Diego Chargers, and the owner was Spanos. And then ever since then, he has done nothing to shipshape the offense. Like, he got let go when he went back to Denver in 2017, had a 6-game losing streak, then went to the Cardinals, which was a complete shit show when they hired Steve Wilkes to be the head coach and then him as the offensive coordinator, and he did a terrible job of developing his so-called ready quarterback, Seth Rosen. And then, Josh Rosen, excuse me, not Seth Rosen. What am I talking about? And then he was the quarterbacks coach for the Jaguars, but I don't know if he helped Trevor Lawrence. And now he's the senior offensive assistant ever since then. So basically, he's no longer a high offensive caliber level, in my opinion. And you have Bo Hardigree calling plays, I would assume. So that's the Tennessee Titans for you. But let's quickly look over the injury report. And of course, we lost Thomas, but let's look at the injury report. So So Mike Vrabel said in his press conference that Stephon Diggs, Jalen Hawkins, Harold Landry, and Charles Woods will all be questionable. I would assume that they will all play. I know Harold Landry suffered that one injury. I think it was last week against the Saints. I don't know where the injury. So the injury was to the ankle, and I remember the ankle, and he did get a sack before the half. Austin, do you think that Harold Landry could possibly play against his former team, or do you think he's going to rest after that scary moment against the Saints?
I don't think there's a chance in hell he would give up the chance to go back into Tennessee and show them, just like Vrabel, why they fucked up letting him go, essentially. And it wasn't even like a free agency. If I remember correctly, they cut him. So I don't think there's a chance in hell he's missing this game. From reports today, he was actually a full participant in practice. So I mean, all signs are pointing towards he's going to play in the game. I feel like Jalen Hawkins is probably the most uncertainty out of this list. Correct me if I'm wrong. Charles Woods, he played last week, right? Caused the fumble on Chris Olave.
I think he was questionable last week, and he did play. I think.
Yeah. So there's a good chance Charles Wood plays. I mean, I liked what I saw out of him on the limited reps on defense and as a gunner. But yeah, Jalen Hawkins, it's like the hamstring with Gonzo. You can't be too careful with the hamstring. It seems like no matter what sport you're in, the hamstring injury is like the worst one to get because it just nags on throughout the whole season. And like if you re-injure it, it's just such a pain to deal with. And I think Stephon Diggs will be fine. It says chest, but I don't know what that means, like bruises or soreness. It didn't see it. I don't know. When I think chest, I think heart attack. It's clearly not that. So.
Yeah, exactly. And when we talk about Harold Landry, the story was during the offseason that before this whole thing, before Vrabel got fired, back in 2021, and it was 2022, excuse me, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, he signed to a 5-year, $87 million extension with $52 million guaranteed. From there, he did suffer his ACL. But then in 2023 to 2024, during his last 2 seasons with Tennessee, he has been looking decent. He had 10.5 sacks during Vrabel's final year, and then first year with Callahan, he had 9 sacks, 1 safety. So at least he was decent. But what I did not expect, I thought Landry would not be a free agent, but it was reported that Landry wanted to seek a trade from the Tennessee Titans because of how much of a shit show they are. Granted, they let him go, and surprisingly, when we hired Vrabel to be the head coach, I knew Harold Landry would be the guy that we need for the defense, considering of how much of a disaster our defensive line was when we were dead last in sacks, dead last in pressures. So I felt like Harold Landry coming to New England, knowing that he's reunited with Mike Vrabel, he's going back to New England where he went to school, which is Boston College, and we signed him to a cheap deal, which is 3 years and $43.5 million deal. So I love when we brought in Harold Landry because I tell you, he has been looking great so far with 4.5 sacks, and it's already like 6 games in spite of that scary incident. But let's take a look at the Tennessee Titans injury report because, oh my gosh, the one player that we got to keep an eye on that we don't have to worry about is Calvin Ridley. And we all know about the story with Calvin Ridley heading into those 2 off seasons ago when when he was like a big name in the free agent market. We were one of the candidates to take him, but he decided to stay with the Tennessee Titans for some ludicrous deal. I think it was wait a minute. What is Ridley's contract? Calvin Ridley's contract. Nope. Contract was a 4-year, $92 million deal. So far, is it? We know that he's your wide receiver 1 for the Tennessee Titans, but with him out, who do you think could be the wide receiver one with him being out? Is it going to be Tyler Lockett, or is it going to be who else?
I think it's going to be Alec Omenor.
Oh, so it's the rookie.
I think so, just because of the size and the speed he offers. Like, that's probably the best choice. I mean, Tyler Lockett's obviously a solid receiver, but more of a slot guy at this point in his career, and possession catcher, and he doesn't really get much run after the catch. He kind of goes down before contact. He's kind of preached out his whole career. Xavier Restrepo is obviously a thing, but I can't remember if he's even on the active roster, if he's on
practice squad at this point.
Yeah, so Van Jefferson, solid wide receiver, 2-3-ish. Played with the Rams previously, I believe. Like, he's good, but I can't say anybody particularly scares me from this receiving core. I'd say it's bottom tier, honestly. Like, if I saw this receiving core without Calvin Ridley, I'd be going like, this looks like Patriots receiving rosters of old, like past couple of years, where we're going into the season being like, man, this guy has nobody to throw to.
This should be an easy matchup for the quarterbacks, and they better get their heads together. I know Gonzo can do it. Davis better get his act straight, because we know that he has been tapping out once again, and I don't know, and I don't like the mentality where it taps out. I think Marcus Jones is going to have another field day for sure. The one player I might want to keep an eye on the offense is Okonkwo, especially that he's a tight end. I think he's on a final year of his deal. I don't think that they gave him an extension, but would Okonkwo be like a threat to the Tennessee Titans or not really?
I definitely think Okonkwo is probably the biggest question mark on if our defense can cover that, because obviously it's easy to be like, all right, we're going to play man-to-man against this like abysmal receiving core that the Titans have, but Okonkwo is sneaky good. Like, he's someone that I kind of wanted to pick up previously, whether through a trade or like through a free agent signing. He's just a solid player, but he has games where he can just kind of like take over. And the Patriots this season have consistently struggled against covering the tight end. I mean, you saw in the Buffalo Bills game, constantly Dalton Kincaid just like getting open. And our linebackers and safeties just having a hell of a time trying to cover him. I don't think Okonkwo is on the level of Kincaid, but it still poses the question, like, can our guys cover that in those man schemes?
Yeah, for sure, because Okonkwo is the guy that I want if he is going to – I think he's going to hit free agency next year, because I don't think that Tennessee wants to clean up the entire roster. So I think that I would assume that he could go to us because he can reunite with Mike Vrabel, since there's a connection right there, and we need a young tight end since Hooper is currently on a 1-year deal, and and Hunter Henry is on his final deal. So I think we might get a young guy on Okonkwo, especially at this. Right now, he's like 26 years old, so that is a decent age for a young tight end right there. And we can give him like a three-year, I would say like $30 million if we were to get Okonkwo in free agency. But let's not head over to what's the rest of the let's head over to the rest of the injury report. So Blake Hance, I don't know much about him. I think he's the right guard for the Tennessee Titans. He was an undrafted free agent, so that doesn't scare me, because I think they're going to go with Zeitler. But Arden Key, he's an interesting fella. So Arden Key, he is the offensive linebacker. He was with the Raiders, he was with the 49ers, then the Jaguars, and now with the Tennessee Titans. With he being Al Thomas, would it be like not concerning for the tackles, or do you think that there's going to be other options that the Tennessee Titans could use to test Moses and Campbell?
I don't think I would be concerned here if Arden Key's out, honest.
Interesting.
Of course, my internet had to act up like that again. Can you repeat the question again?
Do you think with Arden Key I'm sorry, man, it's Wi-Fi season. I don't like it. My school has been acting. Sometimes my school Wi-Fi has been acting up, but I see the pain. But I want to ask you this: with Arden Key being out, will there be any other options that Tennessee could use to test Campbell and Moses?
No. I don't think there's any options here for edge for Tennessee. It's kind of worthless for them. I know this because I watched some of the Tennessee games on YouTube here, but I'm sorry, they look awful. The defense is awful. I don't think there's any changes here with Key out.
Yeah, I don't see anybody that strikes me, but let's now let's look over to the rosters because I think there's nothing much to discuss here after looking at the roster and looking at all the the moves that were made and how pissed the owner is for the Tennessee Titans. Granted that she is not a good owner. He's what's left of the late Bud Adams and who shipped that team from who used to be the Houston Oilers, then the Tennessee Oilers, Tennessee Titans. It's a stupid story, but let me pull up the depth chart. So we look at this team. There is nobody here that strikes me with Calvin Ridley out. No one strikes me as a threat. I don't think that Tony Pollard is going to be a threat in my opinion. And Tony Pollard last season, he had 1K yards last season. This season, Tony Pollard, who was drafted by the Cowboys, signed with the Tennessee Titans last season. Now this season he only had 362 yards, only 2 touchdowns, 3.9 average carries per yard. Do you think that this is going to be an easy matchup for the Patriots run defense, knowing that their run defense, the run game for the Tennessee Titans has looked abysmal?
I would say if the Titans O-line was better than it is, maybe they have a real shot, because I think Tony Pollard is a good back. I think he still has a little something left in the tank. I think there's definitely worse backs you can have in this league than Tony Pollard, and he was definitely very solid for them last year. I mean, at this current rate that he's running right now, he's projected to get over 1,000 yards again. And for reference, he has 92 attempts for 362 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just 0.1 under 4 yards per attempt, essentially. Ramondre has basically half his yards, half his attempts, same amount of touchdowns. I'd say Ramondre's been a more efficient runner, and I'm just going to attribute it to our line being better than Titans, but our run game has been really shit, so we need to get better at blocking. But I'm not necessarily scared. Like I said, if the Titans had a better O-line, then yeah, maybe that's something to be scared about. But the Titans are literally coming into this game with like bottom 5 run game and a bottom 5 pass game.
Yeah, exactly. I want to ask you this, Thomas. Just because ever since this offseason, with Mike Borgonzi being the general manager, I find some questionable things in this regime. When they brought in Dan Moore for this ludicrous deal for 4 years and $80 million. And ever since he was signed that stupid deal, Dan Moore and J.C. Latham, who was drafted in the first round out of Alabama, have allowed 4 sacks apiece, only tackle duo to rank inside the top 10 in most allowed, getting it to Cam Ward. how many sacks do you think this defensive line could get to Cam Ward?
It's at least gonna tie as many that we had. Like, what week was it? Was it the Dolphins where we had 4 or something, or even the Raiders we had 5 sacks?
Yep.
Like,
I mean,
we gotta get more.
Call me nuts with this. I think we're gonna get 8 at this game against the Titans.
It's reasonable. I would not be surprised
because
if they get...
because how abysmal the Tennessee offensive line is at this point, and in this channel, when it comes to last year, I bitch and moan because how terrible the offensive line is. Like, I'm an NFL guy here, and if I see terrible offensive linemen from any team at this, if it means necessary, I'm only gonna lose it. And what I saw from Tennessee, I'm sorry that I love the Tennessee Titans. I do. Like, I respect their franchise. I respect the fan base, but the offensive line has been abysmal. And I think I know many Tennessee fans would say the same thing. They need, like, when it comes to the end of the season, they got to pick up some offensive linemen from the draft or possibly some young linemen on the free agency so they can protect Cam Ward, which, in my opinion, he's going to be the future franchise quarterback for Tennessee if he gets protected.
Yep, I would not be surprised since I think we could get 9 sacks, similar to how we did against the Bears this year, where we racked up 9 sacks on Cam Ward just because of how bad the offensive line was. Now, with how bad the offensive line is this year, it's going to be this should be a fiesta for this defensive lineman in Barmore, Williams, Landry, and Jason. Granted, because I think this defensive line has improved and this offensive line for the Tennessee Titans has got worse. But I'm looking at the rest of the offensive line for the Tennessee Titans. Cushenberry, who was with the Broncos before he signed that 4-year deal, he was okay. He doesn't scare me. Kevin Zeiler, he did well with the Lions. He was with the Ravens before that. He was a former first rounder with the Bengals. I think he's getting old at this point. Dan Moore, who was with the Steelers last year, he was one of the worst left tackles I've ever seen. I don't understand why they signed Dan Moore to 4 years, considering of how awful he was as a blindside to Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, granted to Kenny Pickett as well. I want to ask you this, Thomas. Do you think that Tennessee made a huge mistake of signing Dan Moore to a 4-year deal?
Despite how bad he is, yes. Nothing short. Yes.
Yep. And then J.C. Latham, there were talks about how he was going to be one of the top 3 tackles in the draft back in 2024. Is it too early to call him a bust when he was supposed to be like one of like the top 10 draft prospects in that class?
It's way too early to say he's a bust here. Like, he's got into his young career. Honestly, like, if you give him 2 more seasons or so, we'll see if he's a bust.
I
right
compare
now,
it
we cannot
to like if Will Campbell was put on this Titans team. It's like it doesn't matter. Like, they'd fail. Like, J.C. Latham was supposed to be one of the top tackles, just like Will Campbell was supposed to be one of the top tackles. It's just it's any position in the NFL is totally dependent on where you go and the staff at which they have at the location that you went. The Patriots this year have an amazing staff, and as you've seen, it's paid off with tons of our players, being trained and taught the proper way. And then you have people like Cam Ward going to the Titans, who's just a turnover machine, or you got the Jets that are still winless, or you have the Dolphins who their head coach is on the way out. Like, it really does matter where you get drafted to.
It does.
Yeah, it does. I feel bad for Cam Ward because he did well for Miami, but I'm looking these facts right now. Cam Ward ranks last in completion among 39 qualified QBs, 55%, also ranks last in completion when under pressure 34. How the defensive line needs to make plays, especially of how good this defensive line is. And the interesting part is, listen to this. The Tennessee's offense has allowed 143 quarterback pressures so far this season, third most allowed by any offense. So if you're Christian Barmore and if you're Milton Williams, where do you see this where do you see this hole? Where do you see this weakness on this Tennessee's offensive line that you can get to Cam Ward?
Answer is D, all of the above.
Yeah. Okay. We're okay. Yeah, wait. Yeah. Let me get it. Let me get it for you. Here's the D.
Perfect.
Yeah, that Pats D line is just quite frankly going to make the Titans offensive line their bitch. Yeah, I do not see a world where our defensive line, unless there is serious injury in the case of Barmore, Milton, Landry going down, one of the three. I do not see a world where we have a multi-sack, high-pressure game from that defensive line that will hopefully reflect in some turnovers for our secondary.
What I know about Cam Ward, especially how he's a first overall pick, he has the tendency to throw these fastballs, making it impossible for his wide receivers to catch. Would it be easy for the cornerbacks, especially Gonzo and Davis, to pick off Cam Ward and make his life living hell for Cam Ward, considering of how minuscule the wide receiver room is, and their only weapon is Okonkwo and possibly Tony Pollard?
Yeah, I mean, I always thought Cam Ward's bread and butter was like tight window throws or like just like wide open stuff because he can laser that sucker. The dude has like super strength on the ball to fit it into tight windows. The issue with Cam Ward is like it doesn't seem like he has different types of throws. You look at May, like he knows when he can zip that thing in there, and then he knows when to put touch on that ball. The perfect example is the rollout left and the launch to booty in triple coverage for the touchdown last Sunday against the Saints. I mean, the touch on that ball to be able to float it in right between all three defenders, that takes an insane amount of skill. I mean, we used to see Brady do it all the time, but I mean, that's Brady. To have a second year and Drake May be able to drop it right into the bucket, boom, like that people underappreciate that. I will be shocked if Cam Ward does that because he only has one type of throw and it's a fastball.
I would be shocked if I'm definitely going to see a lot of pass deflections from our cornerbacks for sure, because I doubt that there's going to be some pick sixes or picks, but I'm definitely going to see a lot of pass deflection, especially of how fast the ball from Cam Ward's throw is, because it's like you would never see a ball throw like this that fast. But oh wow, this is going to be a fiesta for this offensive for this
Yeah, watch you say that there's going to be pick sixes at that game for us.
Yeah, all we need to do is have Marte Mapu and the linebackers get onto Okonkwo. That's number one. Number two, make sure to apply a lot of pressure on that offensive line, preventing Tony Pollard to get these holes, and continue to have this streak where we prevent running backs from having more than 50 yards on the ground.
Okay, speak of running backs, I know Pollard is a good running back. I still be a threat to me, but there's another running back I mostly fear the most because we faced him last year, Tyjae Spears. He's no joke. The guy from Tulane. This kid is just ridiculous on this position. Ridiculous.
Seems like they're using a lot more Spears than Pollard for some reason.
And Tyjae Spears is the Swiss Army knife here, and we got beaten by him last year. So the question is can this new improved defense can stop something like Tyjae Spears? Because he is a threat on this position. Not Pollard is more like a semi, but Tyjae Spears is a big ass threat on the running back position. That's something that our defense needs to stop.
Yeah, I didn't think about Tajay Spears, especially that Tajay Spears. He let me see. When was he drafted? Let me see when he was drafted. He was drafted back in 2023. So basically, he is a sneaky guy. Even though he had 312 yards on the ground for 4 touchdowns, this guy you don't want to mess with. Granted that Tony Pollard is going to be your running back one. You always have to take care of 2 heads, Pollard and Spears. So basically, you can't just solely focus on one and then activate a number 2, and you can't stop number 2. So this is going to be a huge test for this defensive line. But going back to this offensive line, I'm looking at the rest of the offensive line. We did talk about Latham, and we talk about Zeiler, we talk about Cushenberry, and talk about Denton Moore. But let's talk. There's also Peter Skoronski, and I thought Skoronski coming out of the draft would be the left tackle for the. He would be the left tackle, future left tackle for the Tennessee Titans. But he was switched over to left guard. And how has he been doing as a left guard from a NFL perspective, Thomas?
I mean, I think he was made to be a guard here. Like when he was in the I have a buddy who was a Chicago Bears fan who wanted Peter Skoronski at this point because he needs someone at the tackle position. But when I look through the notes here, he's played more as a guard than a tackle. So technically here, I would not see him just switch to tackle. But Skoronski, I don't know what the hell is wrong with him. It might be the offensive line has been terrible because it's Tennessee. They need to build something around Skoronski. B, it's probably the offensive line that lost its skill issue.
When we talk about the offensive line, this is going to be the last question before we head over to how we go up against the Titans defense. With Bill Callahan out of the Tennessee Titans, how will it hurt the Tennessee Titans offensive line? They're already shit to begin with, but do you think they're going to get worse from there? And potentially this defensive line for the Patriots could take advantage?
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets worse, but there is the little caveat of the interim head coaches coming in and being able to squeak a win in their first start. I mean, we saw that with the Raiders after they fired Josh McDaniels. That guy stepped right in and won them a game. So, I mean, the potential boost is there from okay, head coach is gone, fresh slate, everybody, can kind of take a breather, and they're trying to reinstate a game plan because now it's a whole new head coach with how he likes to run stuff, and I don't know if that's going to change the defensive schemes or the offensive schemes or what, but clearly something's going to change. And I mean, if they're telling these guys to block one way and then expect them the very next week to block another, and it's just going to be a smooth passover, very unlikely. So I'm really quite confident saying I don't think these Titans are going to stand much of a chance. But again, I hate being like that because I don't want it to be a trap game, because all these things are lining up with Vrabel revenge, Spillane Landry return, all these things are trying to blow it up to something bigger than it probably is. And I don't know, maybe they're going to take the game too seriously and just overthink how to beat the Titans. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't consider this as a trap game here. If you're talking about trap game, look at next week. Because I'm sorry, I'm just going to go off topic because it's the Browns. I know they're crap, but do not underestimate the defense, especially Garrett.
Yes, well, going up against the Browns, we'll talk about this next week. But knowing the Browns, their offensive shit. Their offense is dead last. They're shit. The defense, however, they're the number one in so many categories. So definitely don't underestimate Stewart as a defensive coordinator. But let's switch over to going up against this Titans defense. And the one player we all know who he is. It's Jeffrey Simmons. We all know who Jeffrey Simmons is. He is one of the guys that Mike Vrabel knows so well, and he has developed so well. And I know Terrell Williams has currently the IR defensive coordinator, as I like to call it. He has developed Jeffrey Simmons to be one heck of a monster when it comes to this defensive line. The other player I'm looking at is T'Vondre Sweat, but I think he's out on IR. So the only player you have to keep an eye on is Simmons. But
T'Vondre Sweat just got activated.
Oh, he got activated?
Yeah, he got activated off IR, and good chance.
Sweat's activated.
Okay, so basically, now that Sweat's activated, screw Wikipedia. I shouldn't rely on Wikipedia. But with T'Vondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons.
Fuck Wikipedia.
Okay. Going back to my question, with T'Vondre Sweat being activated and him and Simmons being a destructive threat, will this be a test for the interior line as usual?
This is going to be a big test, I think. I mean, you look at this Titans defense, and I mean, L'Jarius Sneed is a shell of himself. Amani Hooker's way past his days on the Colts. It feels like, or the Cowboys, or wherever the hell he played. I can't even remember. Cody Barton's probably the
Cowboys to me.
Yeah, Cody Barton's probably the only linebacker worth a damn. Arden Key's out. The D line is where it's at. I mean, you got Jeffrey Simmons on one side, T'Vondre Sweat now in the middle, which is a big dude. So you're talking two big dudes, followed up by a third big dude in Sebastian Joseph Day, who is a force to be reckoned with on the Rams. Granted, I think he's also kind of, a shell of himself. But that defensive front is no joke. It's probably going to be pretty difficult to run on these guys. So could we see another, Drake May masterclass where he's going to have to pass a bunch? Maybe, but I do think we maybe get some semblance of a run game more competent than we've seen in the previous weeks. Because let's face it, our run game has been close to nothing. It's a joke if back-to-back weeks your leading rusher is your quarterback. I mean, it's not sustainable. You're not going to win every game doing that. You're certainly not going to make it far in the playoffs if you don't have a run game.
Yeah, it all begins with frickin' having Ramondre remember the two words. I wonder what those two words are. Ball security! And to give more reps to frickin' Trigger Henderson, who in my opinion is my favorite rookie coming out of the draft. If we can't use him more, what's the point of getting him?
It is interesting, especially when Jeffrey Simmons, I'm looking at these advanced stats. He leads all defensive tackles in quarterback pressures with 27 quarterback pressures. He has a pass rush grade of a 91.3, a pass rushing win rate of a 19.9. So this is going to be a test for Wilson and Bradbury to stop Simmons and potentially on a one-two against Sweat. So basically you have to make sure that this interior offensive line can continue to have good grades in the pass blocking, especially when Jared Wilson had his miserable performance in the pass blocking. He needs to bounce back, especially going up against a big test like Jeffrey Simmons, so you can't underestimate him. The other linebacker to keep an eye on, and he's good against the run, and Stevenson has to get his head out of his ass for some reason, especially when he has produced nothing, and that is going up against Cedric Gray, who is an interior linebacker. He had an impressive run defensive grade of a 91.8, second best among all linebackers. So you can never underestimate Cedric Gray when he came out of North Carolina. So basically, he knows Drake May all too well. How do you stop this guy in Cedric Gray, considering that he knows Drake May all too well? He's been practicing with him during his time in college. Anything to know about Cedric Gray, Thomas, since you watch a lot of film?
I watch college football with my family, but I have no idea who Cinder Gray is. Honestly, I have not watched a North Carolina game at all at this point.
I could probably talk a little bit. I don't know much. I have this pulled up real quick, but drafted last year for the Titans in the 4th round, 106 overall. Obviously went to UNC, played there 2020 to 2023, so he spent his whole career there. He's 6'2", 234 pounds, originally from Maryland. 22 years old. He's a 2-time first-team All-ACC, one-time second-team All-American. Just seems, like a solid big linebacker that you'd see coming up into the league, and it looks like based off of his combine and the shuttle and 40 times, yeah, he runs a 4.64 40, so I wouldn't say blazing speed. 17 on the bench press. He wasn't even activated until October 29th of last year to play his first game against the Texans, and even then it was special teams. So I think this year is his real first shot at getting some actual play time, and I think it's just because the Titans are so shit. They're just looking for anybody to give some semblance of a boost to their team.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting enough, even though Stevenson has been playing like shit, I think he's becoming a shell of himself. The Tennessee Titans defense has allowed 11 rushing touchdowns through 6 weeks this season. That is the most allowed by any defense. Could we make this life living hell if Stevenson and Henderson can get more reps on the run? Can Josh McDaniels possibly come up with some plays on the ground, and hopefully this run blocking for this offensive line improves, especially against this basically, could we see a lot more running plays from the Patriots?
I think if we scheme it better than we have the past couple of weeks, we've been running a lot of duo and a lot of I don't know. I thought last week we tried pulling a guard at the goal line, which is totally stupid, and they just blew it up for a 3-yard loss. So we just got to get out of that mindset, and I think if we do more of stretches or some zone schemes, we've always been really good running outside the tackles. I think if we just start doing that again, I have confidence that Josh McDaniels is going to properly scheme up our players. Low key, why I traded for Trevion Henderson in my fantasy league is because I think that the Patriots run game has been so shit that it only has one place to go, and that's up. So I'm really banking on the Patriots being able to improve this run game. And I mean, you don't take Trevion Henderson in the second round if you don't think he's going to be an impact. And obviously you got Ramondre, and of course things didn't work out with Gibson, but all these rumors of bringing in a running back, I don't think a running back solves the issues of scheme and the run blocking. It all comes down to the run blocking and who they're telling who to block on those plays. And I don't think bringing in a running back right now is the move. Next year, if you want to talk about that, sure. But it's just, I think we're fine.
And then it was also reported that the Tennessee not only it allows the most rush yards in the league, and also they allowed where is it? They allowed 692 rush yards after contact through 6 weeks this week, most allowed by any defense. So basically, they better have a breakout game. I'm hoping to see Trevion Henderson having a breakout game at some point, because the last thing I want is to call Damian Harris, who was was one of our best running backs, and now he's an analyst for CBS. And I'm like, when I hear Damian Harris talking like an analyst for CBS, it makes me think, can we bring this guy back after much of a monster he was? Because I want to see Damian Harris back.
Yeah, the problem is he's injury prone.
That is true. But let's take a look at the secondary for this Tennessee Titans, as you alluded to, Austin. L'Jarius Sneed is a shell of himself. He's not like what he used to be with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't see anyone else outside of Quandre Diggs. I think he's a bust. Amani Hooker, he's old. Xavier Woods, I don't know much about.
I
Will
remember correctly, he used to play for the Vikings last year. I'm pretty sure.
Who did?
Was he Xavier Woods? I can't remember. Or was his career is all Tennessee?
not Xavier Wars, the wrestler. He was yes, he was with the Vikings,
not Xavier Woods.
Panthers.
Okay, Panthers. No wonder.
Yeah, it was with the
No
Panthers.
fucking wonder.
Last 3 seasons, and then the season prior to that, he was with the Vikings, and he was drafted by the Cowboys.
Oh my god.
No one in the secondary oppresses me. I think this should be a ball out for the wide receivers. Would you agree or not? Or not yet?
I mean, no, because I'm still worried about Hooker because he literally owned us last year, so don't take him lightly. Quandre Diggs, if he's gonna be on the other side of the safety room here. But Cody Burton's the one I'm worried about. Oh, he's in the linebacker. Never mind. Woods and Hooker are like the main two I had to worry about.
Yeah, even though Cody Barton was a death threat for the Denver Broncos. He was destructive for the Broncos, especially with a 1-year deal. I would not be surprised that I think that if Drake May continues to have another impressive game of securing the ball, making great reads, throwing the ball where it should be, I think this should be a great game. I think this should be a game where Stephon Diggs gets his first touchdown. Possibly, maybe another impressive game from Booty. Probably, maybe, and I mean maybe, get some production from Kyle Williams if needed to be. And I think we have to target Snead because of how shell of himself Snead is, especially when he got traded from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Tennessee Titans. He was a huge candidate, and I thought we would be one of those candidates to get L'Jarius Snead. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I hope that May continues to play well. This is the last time he the last time May played against the Tennessee Titans. Let me look up the statistic.
It was last season.
Mm-hmm. I just want to know how well May did last season, in spite of how shit we were last season, and especially how we lost that game. But don't
mention that. I don't want to forget. I don't want to even remember about that last time we played at Tennessee. It's bad.
Yeah, especially when we went up against Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, of all fucking quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, it wasn't like a terrible game, but it was the fact that Drake May was still very young and fresh, and I don't think the offense the OC Van Pelt did a good job of like showing him how to really handle situational football, and the fact like we got the ball in overtime, and I think it was literally like we just got a first down, so it's like, all right, here we go, and Drake May just launches that shit to the stratosphere and it gets picked off. It's like, I wish they would have just told him to check it down or just keep it a run or something. Like, don't take crazy chances, especially like, I think it was Pop Douglas on that in double coverage. It's like, that dude is not going to catch that. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, and don't forget to mention that we have a garbage offensive line last season. Don't even get me started here with freaking Fidarian Lowe, who literally allowed the most fucking pressures on that game.
Nelson says Josh is an AVP, so hopefully you're right, because the last time when Josh McDaniel was calling up the plays and we played Tennessee, we beat the shit out of Tennessee. Kendrick Bourne had an impressive game, but this is a different roster for both sides of the ball, so we're not going up against Ryan Tannehill. We're not going up against Mason Rudolph. Mike Vrabel's no longer the head coach for the Tennessee Titans, so this is going to be a revenge game. But that's it for the looking into the opponents segment. But now let's take a look at the officiating, and I know who the referee is for this game, and that is Craig Wolstrad, who had a shitty performance where he gave the Chiefs 0 penalties. Will we be concerned about this guy after one horrific officiating performance last week?
I think there's reason to show concern with any officiating crew in this day and age in the NFL. This year alone, there's been so many calls that are just like, what are we doing? Like the Lions game where Jared Goff gets flagged for a illegal formation or a motion beforehand or whatever they want to call it. And it was very similar to what happened with the Patriots, where it's like they score a touchdown, a minute and a half passes, they're lining up the extra point. Oh, whoa. New York called. Oh, yeah, they said there's a penalty. Let's call this one back, guys. Same thing with the Patriots. It was Pop Douglas scores a touchdown, everyone celebrates, everyone runs to the sidelines, special teams unit gets on the field, ready to kick the extra point. Oh, New York called. Pass interference, Stephon Diggs, he was blocking. Then you watch the replay, and the defender is the one that makes contact with him, and I'm just going, what are we doing? I have never seen one, let alone now two plays where it's touchdown, celebrate, let's all get this done, and then it's like, nah, we're going to call that back a minute and a half later. It's crazy. The Broncos-Eagles game had some controversial calls. The game that the Titans beat the Broncos in with was it the leverage penalty? Whatever the hell that is. There's just no consistency this year with how the refs are calling the games, and it's just trending in a terrible direction where we're going to see more and more games this year that are just going to be outright decided by one or two completely blown calls or non-calls. And it's just, I don't want to say like, oh, the NFL is rigging it for Vegas or sports betting, but when you start meshing the two and you start reading between the lines, it's just hard to ignore like what's going on.
Yeah, unfortunately, especially when it comes to big time games. Rams, Jaguars, the referee for that game, Adrian Hill, the one who literally almost screwed us last year. Freaking and the one ref I hate, Bernie passion, Brad fucking Allen, who is reffing the Giants-Broncos game. And you know in Brad Allen, he will make some controversial calls whenever he pleases.
The one referee that I think is flag happy the most, in my opinion, is Sean Hockley. Sean Hockley is one interesting ref, considering that he's the son of the legendary Ed Hockley. But Sean Hockley's crew has been flag happy. No matter what happens, he's the most flag happy referee you can ever see. It's impossible which ref is good nowadays, because one, you got Bill Winovich, who I have so much respect for. You have John Hussey, who is decent. Cleve Blakeman, who happens to be anti-patriot for some oddball reason. And then you have, well, what makes it clear? Whoever is repping a Chiefs game, it will always favor the Chiefs no matter what. But now again, we can't bitch and moan about referees where you have to beat the refs no matter how bad or how shit the call is. So you have to take advantage of beating the refs, take advantage of taking advantage of bad football. And that's what Mike Vrabel harped on in his press conference. And you got to be competitive in the division. And like I said before, and like you said before, Austin.
Yeah, thank you.
The fact that we are number one in the division, after the Bills fuck up their chances against the Atlanta Falcons, this division it's not that easy anymore. And I feel like when I saw this list of who is currently in the leaderboard, it's like the 2004 where you have the Colts in the South, the the Steelers in the North, Chargers in the West, and then the Patriots in the East. it's like it's coming to fruition. 2004 to 2025. It's like 20 years later with a different quarterback. It's magnificent.
You know what they say? History repeats itself. Like,
Yeah,
we could see the
I'm just
second coming right here.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're good, Thomas.
You have something to say, Thomas? I think he's frozen again.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Hold. No. No. I'm here, but
Okay.
I'm just trying to say here, like, I'm happy the division as well, but a friend I know for a long time told me here, let's not milk this. Let's not milk this something that is just something really impressive for us here. Like, let's not milk ourselves to when we're happy we lead the division, because you never know, Buffalo's gonna catch up to us. If we lose one meaningless, Buffalo would catch up, regardless what their schedule is. It's between us and Buffalo. Jets, Dolphins, non-existent. The only one team we had to pay attention to all season long, who literally own us multiple fucking seasons, is Buffalo. And it's always been Buffalo. So we need to keep an eye on them really closely this season.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's nice to hype up the fact that you're currently number one in the division, but you're right. You gotta remain competitive. No matter how easy the schedule, you still gotta remain competitive. No matter the situation is, even if there are some easy games, you always have to stay competitive. You have to dial in every game, no matter how easy, no matter how difficult it is. As long as the Patriots remain competitive, as long as they play clean, competent. Forget it.
Complimentary
football.
That's the hardest word to pronounce when you try to rush. But if they play clean football under Mike Vrabel, if they clean up all these stupid penalties, all these stupid mistakes, the Patriots can remain competitive throughout the entire season, make Buffalo pay.
Yes.
And you gotta be dominant against shitty teams, which are the Dolphins and the Jets, or as I like to call them, fraudfish and paper planes. Trash planes. But now we're heading into the phase where we get to do our predictions. And if you haven't already, folks, if you see the banner below, please make sure that you haven't already. Please make sure that you smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications, because at some point next week, and I'm planning to do this next week based on my schedule, I'm thinking of Tuesday after Monday's show where we do the post game. I'm thinking Tuesday we will do a large live stream where it's going to be a Q&A, a call-in show, and a giveaway if you're interested in collecting cards. So you do not want to miss out. And the way you can be notified for this, if you turn on these bell notifications, if you click this like button and click the subscribe button, it's completely free and helps us grow significantly. And we're currently at 102, and we're planning to launch our very own Discord server, and we will post the link in the descriptions below sooner than later. But nevertheless, let's start with game predictions, and I'll start off and then get to Austin and then get to Thomas. This is going to be easy. This may be a trap game because every game is a trap game. You don't know anytime soon, but since this is Mike Vrabel's revenge game, along with Harold Landry's, I could see this score being 35-13 New England Patriots. Drake May throwing for 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown from Drake May. I better see Stephon Diggs getting his very first touchdown. And I better see a couple of picks off of Cam Ward. How about you, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting some animosity out of this D-line. I want them to really take it to the Tennessee Titans' abysmal offensive line and just make Cam Ward's day living hell. I want to give them 0 chance to throw the football effectively, and hopefully with the amount of pressure that will give. I believe the Titans right now, they're giving up a pressure 40% of the dropbacks, which is dead last. And I think they've allowed over 20 sacks, and we're only 6 games into the season. So I'm expecting the defensive line to just have a day. I'm expecting some of the secondary to get some takeaways, and I'm hoping the linebackers can be really physical. And on the other end, I'm really hoping for our run game to get going. What better team to, start getting better at it with than the Titans, who frankly are bottom 3 in the league record-wise and just roster-wise. So if we could get the run game going, get some confidence in that, I'd like to see Andy Borregales maybe kick some more, because feels like the past 2 games he really hasn't done a whole lot of kicking, and I just don't want him to get stagnant. But yeah, those are my big hope we see a lot of that this upcoming Sunday.
And what is your final score?
So I'm kind of predicting a blowout. I know the spread's 7 or 8, but especially with Ridley out. Yeah, especially with Ridley out, their offense, asking the Titans offense to put something competent out there for all 4 quarters, it's good luck. So I have Patriots 38, Titans 16.
How about you, Thomas?
Yeah, against this non-existent defense, but the secondary non-existent, linebackers non-existent, but the defense will have to watch out for here, especially we had to go on the run here. Cam Ward, I'm still scared of because he can make some deep throws here, honestly. But I say a blowout as well. But for me, I'm not gonna predict what the guy from NFL Network says, 59-0. That's just never gonna happen.
No, that's crazy.
That is a hyperbole. You're never going back to 2009.
It would take. It would take a million years to shut a team out. I'm sorry. With this competent team, I don't think so. So for this one here, I still think Tennessee's going to score some points, even time debt time here. I'm going to say Patriots 45, Titans 14.
Interesting scores from the both of you. And guys, if you're in the chat below, please, if you haven't already, please post in your game predictions in the YouTube chat, or if you're watching the recap of this video, put your score predictions in the comment section below, and also give us your thoughts on what the game is going to look like heading into Sunday at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. So let's take a look at some scores right now from all of you guys currently in the chat. And we still got plenty of time to answer some of your questions and comments. Just make sure that it's going to be crunch time. So we have 5 to 10 minutes to read all of your questions and comments and even your predictions. But DPF comes in and says 27-13. I could see that. I could see that happening. But man, this is gonna be a fiesta. I hope Mike Vrabel gets his revenge after what the owner did to him, which was dirty. Not giving Ryan Cowden as the general manager, who is now with us in the front office, which is really interesting. After letting go John Robinson, who has made questionable picks ever since Jeffrey Simmons. You drafted Isaiah Williams, who's a complete bust. Caleb Farley, who is injury prone. You trade away AJ Brown and get Treylon Burks, who is now with the Commanders, who is a complete bust. And then you draft Peter Skoronski. Nelson comes in and says 42-10 Patriots win. These are some scores, guys. But that's going to be it for today's live stream. We will be back for the Monday recap as usual at 8 p.m. with all 4 of us. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps us grow significantly here on this channel. We appreciate the support. And this is the birth of the brand of the now revamped Patriots Clubhouse with me, Andy, Austin, and Thomas. This is going to be the name moving forward unless some school decided we're going to change the name for the third time. This is the second time that I have to change the name just because I felt, and I know Austin convinced me to change this name for the sake of doing so and not to copy some other random channel that or podcast that has the similar name as Patriots Talk. So, which is why we're now the Patriots Clubhouse, which is completely unique, and you're always welcome to join the Clubhouse when we open up the Discord server. And as always, guys, go Pats.
Go Pats.